Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is Mindy Eggen for Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine, and today I'm going to be creating a Mother's Day card. Now, the best thing about Mother's Day cards is they really can be sent all year long because it's a great way to show our mothers or the mothers in our lives appreciation. I'm also going to be showing you how to create this fun textured look with a specialty paper and some stencils. First, we're going to take a look at the products I'm going to be using. I have the UR stamp and die set, the A2 layer stacklets, and the cross stitch rectangle stacklets from Tailored Expressions, and I'll be using the whimsical Primrose stencil from Gina K Designs. The colors of ink I'm going to use are Black Onyx, Lucky Clover, Key Lime, Medium, and Light Carnation. The specialty paper that I mentioned earlier is the Tailored Expressions Perforated paper. Now, this type of paper has a bunch of holes in it, so kind of think of cross stitch fabric, but in a paper form. You can stamp on it, you can ink blend on it, you can even add texture paste to it. It just adds a very unique look to your designs. I'm starting by taking the coordinating die for the whimsical primrose and I'm going to die cut this out of that perforated paper. The easiest way to get perfectly lined up edges with your stencil is going to be die cutting this stencil first. To hold my cardstock and my stencil in place, I'm bringing out my 9 by 12 sticky mat from Altenew. This is a very loved sticky mat, and I'm going to start with the first layer of the stencil. So this is a 4-piece stencil. The first layer is going to be the most open area of the stencil. I'm lining that up with the flowers, so we'll start with our flowers first and then do our leaves. And then that sticky mat is going to hold my stencil in place. I'm going to ink blend with the lightest color of pink that I picked out, which is the light carnation. And just using a blending brush, I'm going to go over all of those open areas. Now, for a fun added twist, you could also put another die cut piece behind this one. And sometimes, if you ink blend hard enough, you can get through the holes and it'll go down onto the solid paper that you die cut. I removed my first layer, brought in the second layer to the flowers, lined them up over the areas, and they really do layer together very easily. Now, this second layer to the flowers, I am going to use a medium carnation. I love how these two colors layer together so nicely. You could bring in a smaller blending brush and a darker shade if you wanted to add a little bit more interest and contrast to that, but I'm going to keep this fairly simple today and just focus on the main colors for the layers. Now I'm placing down the third layer, which is going to be the most open part for the leaves. This is being ink blended with key lime ink, so it's a nice bright spring green. And then the last layer of the stencil is going to add some detail to the leaves and the stems, but it also is going to give us the center to our flowers. So for this, I switched to a mini blending brush. That way I can really control the area where I'm blending. That color for the leaves, I am using Lucky Clover, and then I'm going to bring in Black Onyx with a detail blending brush to really get into the center of the flowers. And by using the detail brush, which is even smaller, I'm not getting any of that black ink onto my leaves. Now our stencil design is complete. I absolutely love this stencil from Gina K Designs. It creates such a beautiful and kind of fluffy yet soft and whimsical design. And what's really cool about stenciling on this perforated paper is you can layer it on top of another piece of cardstock. This just happens to be white cardstock that I'm adding tape runner to. You do want to use a tape runner and not liquid glue because the liquid glue would seep through the holes. But just by changing that bottom layer of the cardstock to maybe a dark pink or even a black, it is going to completely change the feel of this project. For my sentiment, I'm using the UR stamp set, and this has a bunch of words on it that are just amazing for anybody in your life, but I thought they worked particularly well for Mother's Day. Another fun feature about this stamp set is you stamp all of those words out at once, and then there is a coordinating die to die cut them all at once. So you'll have a ton left over to use. All you need to do is stamp the UR another time to use these for future cards. I stamped everything in black onyx ink, and then I'm going to hold down the coordinating dies using a low tack tape. Now on this larger die, I do recommend finding at least 3 points to hold that down so it doesn't shift when you run it through your die cut machine. Then when we pull these out, we have all of these wonderful words, which actually would make a great card front on their own. For my main card project, I am bringing out some white cardstock. This is from Gina K Designs. It is her layering weight white cardstock. And I'm also bringing in the A2 layer stacklets. Now, I could just trim my cardstock down, but I really like having that clean, crisp edge that the die provides. And then I'm going to bring in the cross stitch rectangle stacklets. And I'm going to find the one that fits just inside of my die cut panel. What's really neat about this is it really ties in nicely to using the perforated paper because it's going to kind of emboss, I don't want to say emboss, but it's going to die cut these little X's to create a textured border. So it's not actually cutting anything out, it's just die cutting those X's into the panel. It's just a really fun element to add to your designs. To create my card front, I am going to flip over that white panel with the cross stitch design in it, and I'm going to layer it with some foam tape. Then I'm going to remove the backing of that foam tape and I'm going to place it on top of some innocent pink cardstock from Gina K Designs. This is cut to 4¼ by 5½, and that pink matches so nicely with my flowers. When I was die cutting my sentiments, I also die cut them again from just some plain white cardstock, and I layered them together just to create some stability. I'm placing my stencil flower design up towards the top of my panel. I wanted to leave room towards the bottom for my sentiment, and I'm just going to add that with the liquid glue. This is the Gina K Designs Connect glue that I have in a fine tip bottle. And then for the sentiment, I'm kind of placing that a little over on the left hand side. And I know my swoops at the end do kind of hang off, but I will trim those off a little bit later. I just thought this scripty sentiment paired with this style of font for the words was a great fit for this whimsical design. I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle to finish off my design, and I'm using some gold glitter drops from Tailored Expressions and also the glass board buddy. I just poured some of those glitter drops into the glass board buddy and then picking them up with my pick and stick tool. And I start by just placing them out so I can get an idea of where I want them to go. Now, on the glass board buddy, there is a little notch there, which is great for pouring those back into the jar. And then I'm just going to take the Gina K Designs Connect glue, add a little dot, and then place my gold glitter drops down. Now, even though I did not put the actual Happy Mother's Day sentiment on the front, this is a card I am definitely going to be using for Mother's Day. I can write a personal message and the Happy Mother's Day sentiment in the inside of the panel. But I think these are great, again, not only for Mother's Day, but for sending year round to the mothers in our lives. I hope you all enjoyed today's card project. Thank you all so much for joining me on the Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine YouTube channel. See you soon.